My name is Eleanor Wright. I am 70 years old. I sold my land so my son could build a big house. Now I sleep behind that house, like something they want to hide. It is night when I tell you this. The lights in the big house are still on. I can see them through the window. I sit in the dark behind it, listening to voices that are not calling my name. I often think about who I am now. I am a mother. I am old. I am quiet. I do not complain. I do not ask for much. But every night I ask myself one small question. How did I become someone who must stay out of sight? I worked on that land for most of my life. I planted seeds with my own hands. I woke up before the sun. I worked in the heat and in the rain. My back bent slowly over the years, but the land stayed with me. It was not rich land, but it was mine. Every tree held a memory. Every path knew my steps. My son was young then, poor and quiet. He worked hard, but it was never enough. I saw the shame in his eyes. I felt it in my chest. One night he sat beside me and held my hand. "Mom," he said, "we will live together. You will never be alone." I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I thought family meant sharing one life. So I sold most of my land. The paper was thin, but the decision was heavy. My hand shook when I signed my name. I kept a small piece behind the house. I told myself it was enough. I told myself we were family. I watched the ground change. I watched trucks arrive. I watched walls rise. The new house stood tall and clean, bright inside, wide windows, smooth floors, light filled every room. Behind it, the old place stayed low and dark. The roof was thin. The walls felt damp. The air smelled old. I did not say I was sad. I just stood there. That was when warmth slowly turned into regret. When respect starts to fade. When my son's wife invited her friends over, everything changed a little. I stepped out to greet them. I smiled. I said hello. She moved closer to me and corrected my words. She adjusted how I stood. She touched my arm and whispered, "Not like that." She smiled at her friends, but her smile was tight. My son stood behind her. He said nothing. He looked at the floor. He did not look at me. My mind went back many years. When he was young and poor, he felt small beside others. Each time he failed, I stepped forward. I solved the problem. I sold land. I carried the weight. He learned to step back. He learned to wait. Later, my son came to me alone. His voice was soft. "It's only temporary," he said. "She's just stressed. You know I love you." He did not meet my eyes. I wanted to believe him. The next weekend, more guests came. The front door closed. I stood in the yard. I heard laughter inside. Glasses touched. Music played low. The door stayed shut. My son opened it just a little. "Mom, stay outside for now." Then the door closed again. I stayed where I was. I swept the yard. I drank water. The sun went down. The lights turned on inside the house. I listened to the night. Then I heard my name. Words that shouldn't have been heard. I stood behind the wall near the back of the house. I was not meant to hear them. Her voice was calm and careless. "She makes me look stupid," she said. My breath stopped. "My boss will be here next week," she continued. "I can't let him see your mother like this." She spoke about my clothes, my words, the way I spoke. The time I spoke, I stood very still. No one shouted at me. No one told me to leave, but they changed my place. I was no longer a mother. I was a problem. The sentence that changed everything. That evening, my son asked me to come inside. The room was bright and clean. My daughter-in-law stood near the window. She did not look at me. My son stood between us, his hands folded. I waited. Then he said it calmly and quietly, "Mom, it's better if you stay in the old place. It's quieter there." The words stayed in the air. I understood. The big house was not for me. I nodded once. I did not argue. I picked up my bag and walked out. The night air touched my face. My back straightened. I would not make myself small anymore. Leaving without noise. No one followed me. No one called my name. From the yard, I saw my daughter-in-law sit down and relax. I understood that look. It was relief. I packed that night, slowly, quietly. I took only what I needed. The silence answered me clearly. I left. A quiet new beginning. Months passed. I found a small room with one window. I cleaned it myself. I cooked simple food. I walked to the market. People greeted me. I felt seen again. I was not rich. I was not important, but I belonged to my own life. One day, I smiled without meaning to. I learned something important from this quiet pain. When love costs your dignity, it is no longer love. Love should not make you shrink. Love should not ask you to hide. Respect is not a gift. It is a right. If a home makes you feel invisible, something is already broken. She was not beaten. She was not shouted at. She was simply moved out of sight. So ask yourself one quiet question. Is it still love if someone hides you instead of hurting you? Sometimes pain does not come from loud words. Sometimes it comes from being erased.